So a couple of days ago, I talked about the chunky baby, i.e. the DJI Osmo Nano. And since then, I've bought it. At first, I was just like, it's not as small as I thought. And when I went into PC World and I took a look at it, I was just like, you are a little chunky baby, aren't you? You are a proper little fatty. And the thought of wearing that on my hat or on my chest, I just didn't want to do it. But then I went away on holiday and I was using my mobile phone to record a lot of the footage, and you'll see that now. And then after that, then we'll move on to all the DJI Nano footage. But there were points at that holiday where I was getting frustrated with the phone because of the speed of it, which we were going around and doing stuff and enjoying. It was a family holiday. I still found myself getting frustrated with using the mobile phone as a camera. So then it's been on my mind about the DJI Nano. So I was going online, checking reviews, looking at the Instago Ultra, but I wasn't prepared to spend nearly £400 on a camera like this. So I went back and had a look at the DJI Nano, and I thought, sod it, let's give the chunky baby a try. And I've been pleasantly surprised. Now, this is not a review of the Nano. I'm not going to do a review of, is it the best camera? Will it work for you? Is it still valid in 2026 next year? All that shit bugs, it should drives me nuts. The whole reason of purchasing a piece of equipment is to use it and not worry about. There's obviously going to be certain things, like there's the overeating. I did it again. I have got an overeating problem, that's why I'm on a diet. But the overheating issue, a lot of people have been complaining about that. Now, I will say that for my use case, I'm not recording for 30-40 minutes at a time. I'm very intentional with how I record my footage. So at most, we're talking about 2 to 5 minutes. And I've not had an overheating issue at the moment. It's also got the new firmware, so that's great. Oh, charging. Oh, the charging pause. Okay, I panicked then. Oh, charging paused. Camera will resume charging once temperature returns to normal. I think I've had my first heat in. Oh, 22 minutes. Okay, so this is the longest that I've recorded for. And I've just had a message to say that it's not going to charge the camera because of the temperature. So if I feel, that doesn't feel too warm, but that's okay. It's not stopped the recording. I'm still recording, but I've had a message. But this is just talking about my experience with using the Nano, and I gotta be honest, I'm really impressed. Wasn't expecting it to change the world, if that makes sense, from a image quality point of view. Like, I knew in low light that it wasn't as good as the Ultra, but by that same token, I also know how I film, and it's rare that I film in the night anyway. So I was just like, well, that's a non-starter. So what's the image quality like in every other use case that I actually use these things for? And I've been really happy. I mean, to the point where I'm even considering abandoning the mobile phone to a point, but we'll get on to that. So every bit of footage that you were seeing now has been shot with the DJI Nano, and it's just random clips. I went skateboarding on my electric board. I've took it to the gym. I don't like filming in the gym, so that's the only time you're going to see me filming in the gym, but I just wanted to show it as a use case because I know people like to film in the gyms. I'm personally not a big fan of it, but I got some sneaky shots in. I've taken it to shopping. I've done things. I've even been outside with a leaf blower. I even did buy the DJI Mini Mic. And the reason for that is that I'm big on audio quality, and whilst I could have recorded with a voice recorder using the Lark A1 on my mobile phone, I thought I want to sidestep having to resync it in post. So I got that. But the nice thing is that whilst this is connected to the DJI Nano, because there's two transmitters, the other one, when it's connected to the phone, works with the phone. So I can have this microphone for the phone, plug it in, connect it, not have to worry. And then this one, which I've got here, is paired with the actual DJI Nano. So I've got a nice little ecosystem now that plays well with itself. So I'll just list some of the things that you get with the Nano. You obviously get the Nano and the base unit, which has been great. You get the hat clip. You get this suction cup, which doesn't have the mount, and I'll tell you why. This is the mount for the suction cup. Now, what I found with the Nano is that whilst it's a chunky baby, it's still small. And dropping it's going to happen. So I've been using this lanyard type thing. I've taken the suction mount off because it's got a quarter thread, and I've just attached it here. And then it means then that whilst I'm holding the Nano, it's clipped in here, and if it drops, it's not going far. And I've even put this around my belt buckle, so if I've got the base unit is on here, and then if I need that on the hat, that's great. Now this, like I said, this is not a review of, oh, and we've also got the magnet, which is great. So I'm going to talk about my use cases and everything that I've experienced with the Nano so far. I'll show you what it's like when it's out of the camera with D-Log-M, and then you put a Rec 709 LUT on it, and then I'll just show you what I do with my own personal color grading. So if you see the footage and you think, okay, that's lovely, it might be because I've done additional color grading, but I will show you before and after just so you can get an idea of the image. But I'm really pleased, and I'm really pleased with the dynamic range. It really helps, especially when the sun's behind you and you're trying to do a shot as well. It seems to be managing that really, really well. And that is exactly what I'm doing. So everything is almost on auto at the moment. But I'm going to be talking about wearing it and using it. I'll start with the clip for the hat. This is great, love it. Only downside is that if you are a jogger or a runner, is silly people, you're going to need to tighten that up at the back of your head. So your hat is going to need to be a little bit tighter in order for this to work great, because whilst it is a small camera, it's still a chunky baby, and that weight will pull it down. So there are times where I've had to tighten the back of the hat just to, make it stable. The other way of doing it is turning the hat round if you think you're cool, and then doing it that way. I can't do that because you've got the hole in the front, and if it's a sunny day, I get the letter D with a tan. So that's happened once, it will never happen again. So that is why I don't do that. I've always got the peak forward. So be mindful with this. If you were using this on a mountain bike or anything like that, I use I got a mountain bike helmet for my electric skateboard, and it's got the chin, because if you fall off, I don't want to smash this face in. But that peak is plastic, and it's also got ridges. This just holds it fine for the skateboard. If you're not careful, it will pop off. So you might want to put a little bit of rubber or something to increase the thickness because of that. What I found was that was relatively easy to pull off, but I was still able to shake my head up and down and it didn't come off. But I'd imagine if you are doing any mountain biking downhill or anything that incurs a lot of vibration, then this will pop off on one of those helmets. So I would think about that, doing it that way. There's a lot to say about this camera, one of which is don't do what I just done. Yes, you can stick it to a magnet like on a new car like I've done now, but do not do this. I placed it there, pulled it down, not realizing there was a stone behind the actual camera, and I've marked my car. So don't be a dickhead like me. The magnetic chest strap, extremely strong, fantastic. The only downside is that when you put it on, it's literally pointing at an angle at which your chest is. So if you've got a flat chest, great. If you've got a concave chest where your chest goes in and it points down, great. But if you've got a decent chest or you've got big titties, then what's going to happen is that this is going to point up. So be mindful of where you place this on the chest. The other way you can do this is putting it under the t-shirt. Now, if you're wearing a loose t-shirt, this is going to bounce around. No amount of stabilization is going to get rid of the fact that it swings. I mean, you just got to look at the mechanics of this. It's going to swing, even against the t-shirt. It will help. And I'll come back to the magnets because I did poop my pants a few times with these. Also the angle. So sometimes the angle, I like it to be facing down so you can actually see a bit further down. But with this, you're actually flat or you're upright. So the angle at which you do it is to be considered. So you might have to put this lower down if it's looking up, or find a way to make this whereby there's an angle. I know you can get ones now where they do the magnet and they can do the hinge, but they're not always readily available. So whilst I like this, you know, you've got to work around it. What else did I find? I'll show you the bag later. Yeah, so I've been using the suction cup is great. I've been using it in places, but because that's got the magnet, you can stick it. There are so many options available, but this does really help. It's not super strong. I've placed it against like the car windows. I've got some plastic in the car that you can stick it on, and it's held well. I don't know if I would trust it outside the car. You would probably look to get something stronger. Even though, you know, it's £259, I would still make sure that you don't hang this outside the car and get something stronger for it if that's the type of shot that you're looking for. Now, mounting is a big thing. So right now I've got this on a tripod, and I've got my own selfie stick, which was from the Insta360, the X2. So I'm using this. This has been perfect. And I've got quick release plates on this. And even though it's got a clamp that you can use, I've only got one of those because I've got the small rig and it's on that one. And I've also got the other one that's on here that comes with the actual suction cup. But I had more of these quick release plates as opposed to more, and I didn't want to spend any more money, so all I've done is I put the small rig one on here, and then I can clip between here, that I can put this on a arm, so I can mount this on poles or anything that's not magnetic and still have the camera. I've even got a little articulating arm, which is what the camera's on right now, and that is great. So the things that I've used, not used this, well, I've actually only used this once. I'm using the tripod once to do this talking head. I used this out on the skateboard, which was great. I'm used to using it on the Insta360, and that is a lot heavier than this. So it was really nice to be able to put it in places where I was intentional and I didn't have the base unit connected because I don't want it out that far, and I'm skateboarding, so I'm not looking at the screen, but I'm hoping that it's all within the framing is okay. But ease of use, switching between things, it is much easier. So if I'm rigging this like in the car, the suction cup that has to deal with the weight of this is much larger, so the footprint is much larger. I couldn't put this mobile phone on a thin selfie stick like this. So it's logistics and rigging. When you're using something like this, you are literally talking about the logistics and rigging of using these items. And that is where this shines. It is lightweight. The image quality is great. I'm not having overheating issues. I'm recording for 13 minutes on this talking head so far and no warnings. So I'm really pleased. And I can just come, sit down, do these bits, set everything to auto exposure, and I'm not consciously worrying about, or do my settings need to be this, that, the other. It just works, and I can just press record. Now, there are some caveats. Obviously with the helmet, I was riding the skateboard. I was conscious about this clip, so I was worried about that. Moving on to the mics. Now the mics sound great, I'm really happy, but the magnet, if you are wearing thicker clothing, now on here it's fine, there's not a much movement. This little magnet, so this goes over the shirt, this goes under the shirt. The other way that I do it is that I reverse it. So if I want it to be more concealed, because I don't like people seeing that I'm recording, I will put this under the shirt and then the magnet will be on top. Now, the thickness of your clothes is going to dictate how well this works. And twice on the skateboard run, I thought I'd lost it. Luckily, this didn't fall down too far and it stayed by my belt buckle. And this bugger shot straight up to this. It just went ping. So I'll explain what I had there. I wanted flexibility when I was riding. So I thought, right, put the hat clip on, great. When I want a POV on the chest, I had this on. I can just unclip it, put it there, great. Now I had the DJI mic further down so that it wouldn't interfere with that process. I wasn't worried about getting stellar audio with the voice. I was just more, I want clean audio. And that's what I did because it was under my clothes and you're not going to get that wind buffering that hits the mic. But twice I nearly lost it because of the thickness of the clothes that I was wearing at the time. So as I was going back from Mumbo's, I was just like, what I need is a stronger magnet. You know, when you think to yourself, I've had a dumbass moment, and I was just like, where am I going to get a stronger magnet from? I don't know. I mean, where do you think I would have got a stronger magnet from? So what I did, I left the Nano on the hat clip. I took this off and I literally put it there. And this is much more solid. It would take a lot more for this to come off than it would with that little thing. This little thing. So what I've done now, because I like that process, I'm still going to use this as my neck mount for the chest mount for the DJI Nano, so that I can adjust this any way I want, so I can make it shorter or taller. But I've also ordered another one by Small Rig, which is similar to this. It's intended for the Nano, but that will be used for the microphone. So when I'm out on the board and I need something stronger, I'll be putting the microphone on this, and that's where and it'll be inside my shirt. I might get a little bit of rustling. I'll tweak things as I'm going, but I'm learning more as I'm going, because I've not had an action cam like this whereby your options for flexibility are so great that you are not limited by the camera, you're just limited by your imagination. So far, I'm loving the camera. I'm really enjoying it, but I do have one niggle with it. I didn't think that was going to be a problem, and I knew that it was an issue where I purchased it, that it's something that does happen. And I was like, right, I'll be fine with that. I can work around it. When this is connected to that and you take it off the dock, you lose the live preview. And I didn't think that that would be as much of a problem as it has been. And it is. And that is the one gripe I have with this, is that I'm not experiencing the overheating, because we're at 18 minutes now. So I apologize if this is a little bit long, but this is just my initial take on the usage of the Nano and the things I've experienced. Because this is a POV cam that you can now put in places and check to see that the framing and everything, that's become the go-to, that I love using it for that. And then when I want the clean audio, I'll connect the microphone. So then the only option that I've got is to actually leave the camera on the base unit, which is not a deal breaker. It's a flow that I've got to work around now. But I would love it if they could just keep that feed, so that even when the microphone is not attached, I can carry on. Now, I know that it will still record with the DJI Mini Mic. I thought initially that if the bass unit was turned off, that this wouldn't pair with the camera, but it does. I think I made a mistake in one bit when I started recording, doing a talking head, and I don't know if this switched off or I had the settings on the phone to say to power off after 15 minutes. I clearly must have been riding the board long enough for this to power off, so that when I was just using the head, the camera, not the bass unit, I think it was just using the internal the microphone of the actual bass unit, not the bass unit, my camera. So there are things that I got to learn and quirks that I got to deal with and, you know, get around to it. But the first few days of actually using it, thumbs up for me. I definitely buy it again, but it's a workflow thing. So everything that I've got goes in this bag, and this is a hip bag that, well, it's called a leg bag, and it straps to the leg. So when I'm riding the board, this will be strapped around the leg, and this goes around my waist, and that's been perfect. When it's not need to be strapped, I just tie it up and I just clip it. But everything that I've just shown you fits in this bag, so my hands are free. I don't have to take a lot of items when I go out with the family and the wife. So I'm not like being that person whereby, great, we're going out now, I'll fetch my gear. And then you can see my wife's face going, great, bags, bags and bags and bags. I'm done with that. So that is what I'm using to actually store the items, because the selfie stick will fit in the tall bit, and that fits in nice. The clamp, that goes, the tripod and the little articulating head, and that goes in this large pit. So all that gets put in there, so that's out the way. And then this bag part, then this is for the mic and the Nano, and I put this in. The front pocket, because it's now thinner, is for the suction cups, and then the magnet that goes in the front part here, so I can just grab it and pull it out. And then there's even a top bit where the hat goes in there, and it's all neatly away, so I don't have to worry about taking shed loads of stuff, because the camera and the quality is so good that I'm really happy with it. The other caveat, charging, the charging pause, okay, I panicked then. Charging paused, camera will resume charging once temperature returns to normal. I think I've had my first heat in. 22 minutes. Okay, so this is the longest that I've recorded for, and I've just had a message to say that it's not going to charge the camera because of the temperature. So if I feel, that doesn't feel too warm, but that's okay. It's not stopped the recording. I'm still recording, but I've had a message. There was one more caveat. Because this thing is small, you've got to, and even though I've got a bag that I manage everything in, the amount of times that I've misplaced stuff over those 4 days is unreal. Like, I'll go back in the office, I'll put stuff down, I might put this on the bed by accident, and not real, and your hand just does stuff. And then I go back to the bag, I'm like, where the bloody hell is that? So the only thing that I'm finding is, because items are so small to support the camera, I'm mislaying them quite easily, and that's a cause for concern, because I've even dropped this little pouch that I use just to protect the camera. That doesn't come with the camera. I got this as part of another product, but even then I'm still misplacing. This I dropped by some swans, and I'm surprised they didn't bloody steal it. And I had to go back because I was just like, what the hell is that? And it was further along. So luckily I found it. But I'm finding I'm mislaying stuff really, really easy. So be very mindful when you take this out. If you are going to take a bit of stuff to like the rigging and the supporting gear, have something that you can manage really easy, because you're going to lose something very easily. And that is it. That is my initial impression over the first couple of days using this. I will do another update. If you found this beneficial, give me a like, or put any comments that you have if you've had any similar experiences or any other experiences, and that would be great. Cheers.